another legendary up rocker from Bushwick, Brooklyn, and he's going to give you a little bit of stories about Bushwick, where he grew up, most of the things he saw back in the days, the people he knew. I mean, we have this up rock story is so big that everybody has their own story. Everybody has seen stuff. Not one person was everywhere in Bushwick. Bushwick was big. It was a big borough. And we had so many rockers back then that many crews was trying to dominate other blocks and take this crew out and take that crew. Not one person was everywhere. So, you know, as much as we only met at the clubs, when there was a rock contest, that's when everybody was there. But meanwhile, before there was a rock contest, we're trying to take territories. We're trying to take the block party, trying to see what crews from where. But, you know, you're going to give them a little history about yourself. And, you know, because like you said, we're working on bigger projects. But just a little introduction. So let them know what's your name and what crew you represent.
Okay, my name is Juan. That's my original name. But my old school name I used to graffiti by was Essie, and everybody used to call me Big Johnny. I know him for many years, many years. This is his story is true. My story is going to be true. Breakdancing, what the kids call now B-boy, they don't want it to call breakdancing. I mean, they don't want it to be called breakdancing, they want to call it B-boy. But I could tell you stories from way back in the days, the real old school, when first breakdancing. Then I will stay calling it breakdancing forever, because to me it's called breakdancing, which included the jerk and everything, which to me originally I know of only in Brooklyn. Never heard in no other area, no other place, where it was a community thing. It was something where we battled, like he said. We battled. If he was a crew that hanged out in a corner store, if you had that corner store, was that crew's corner store, we will meet up there and we said we're going to set up a jam at the park, bring equipment, take electricity from the light pole. It was awesome. It was the best get high of the high in the world to know that on a Friday, or when we got out of school, we looked forward to going to battle in parks, battle on a cardboard, the most famous Linden Park, Knickerbocker Park, Bushwick Park, DeKalb, you name it. We went all over to battle. And the true history of breakdancing was where we settle our differences. People fight with guns, we didn't fight with guns. What we did was we battled. That's where the jerk came from. The jerk came from battling, where we showed our difference, how we fought to each other, and we would try to burn. And whoever lost, we just ate it up, we walked away. And the funny thing about it is that the person that will win, or whatever crew will win, we will want to be down. We will want to join that crew. We wanted to be to that crew. So there was always a popular crew that everybody in the neighborhood worked his way up to it. And to me, one of the most popular crews was Dynasty, Touch of Rock. There's so many I can't remember. Just begun. And we got
just a little introduction.
The history maker right here. He found me. He found me from underneath a rock. I haven't spoken. I've been locked up in my own mind. Okay, I've been locked up in my own mind because I've always talked to people, and I've never had proof, or I've never had them like this. I had stories but no pictures to it, you know. And there's an excitement, you know, and there's nothing like you growing up in Bushwick and Brooklyn and seeing the way we dance, you know, the way we hustle, the way, okay, moving forward, you know, like I said, there's so much to say, you know, I really can't tell you the difference. I wish you could see more, but, you know, there was a lot of things too, like for instance, this hat. This hat is a very popular hat. It's probably popular now still.
Yeah.
You know, with this guy named Danny Boy, back in the days, he was one of the guys in Bushwick who wore this hat and who designed it and styled it different. I'm gonna give you a little taste of how it was done with Kangos and everything.
Well, back in the days, we used to take the hat. Well, Danny Boy used to take the hat and he would just crease it, iron it in a way that he would bend the front going in. And when you would put it on, and you will just push it in, and it will be like this, and then you will either put your name on the front, but this always had to be, you always had it like that.
Exactly.
You used to rock and battle, and you could always keep it sideways, and then if the hat didn't crease as good when you iron it, because you used to have to put a lot of starch.
That's right.
A lot of starch.
And he used to teach us a trick. Underneath your bed. But now that we're talking about this, I want to bring up one point. You see the dancers now, the younger dancers, younger generation, you see that where they take their hat and they flip it in the air? We started that. Danny Boy, that came out of Bushwick. That was started in Bushwick. It's a phenomenon that you see it now. that, you know, if you know, I know, he knows, old school, okay? You see somebody throw their hat in the air like that, it's going to remind you where that came from and where it was done and how it plays into it now. And, you know, it's very important. You know, it's such a little short time for an interview and everything. I have so much to say, but you know, he's gonna make it. He's gonna do his best, and you too. You guys are gonna do your best to really, you know, people need to know this. You understand? People when they see this interview, you know, I'm not a professional talker, and I want them to be mesmerized to see what they see me, the way I talk, the way I feel, the way I'm expressing myself. It's unbelievable, my man.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you know, to a lot of people when you say breakdancing, because the first generation, a lot of the first generations, guys, before they started doing rock contests, because the first rock contest was 1973, and
that's right.
And Papo from Dynamic Spinners won that contest.
That's right. That's
so
right.
I have the trophy. You know what I'm saying? And Crazy Rob threw it, but the older guys, the gangs, everybody, they called it more of they call it the breakdancing because they feel that used to break the guy. You take the guy, break him, you know, with the burn, and they call it the breakdance. Now, you know, in the 90s, you have b-boys who the Bronx called b-boys, but the commercial people call it breakdancing.
Exactly.
And it's a little conflict when you use that word, but now, you know, like I said, everybody has their own terminology of what they call it. Exactly. It was either called, I mean, the gangs in like Apache and Rubber Band, they call it the breakdance. Not as breakdancing and spinning, breakdancing as what we call it rocking.
Exactly.
Now they call it up rocking. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But really, I mean, like I said, I got flyers.
The proof is in the pudding.
I got, like I said,
the proof is in the pudding.
I got flyers right here. All these flyers. Look, all these flyers, bro. I got hundreds of flyers from back in the day. Look at MTC. I mean,
that's
Chino.
Right. That's
the original Chino. I mean,
the original. And these guys, I see, and these guys, I see them. You see, I see them. We see each other. My man, here's an example. One thing that I'm not going to leave out with because I'm plain and corny to anybody. You see, you're in my crib. You see my people I know. We did our dancing, break dancing, the jerk, or whatever you want to call it, b-boy. But you know something? You know, with our education, you know, we're able to do this. I'm able to speak to you in a proper way. He's able to speak to you in a proper, and we could connect. You know, we can go back to Bushwick, you know, to the old school where people call you. I'm older than half the kids. It's like, yo, son, you know. Me and him, we could go back to the neighborhood and we look at people the way they talk. They really don't know the real lingo from back in the time, the real deal, the way it was. We see these dancers now, you know, that are out here now. To me, they're blessed because whatever you want to call it, b-boy or breakdancing, that culture to me, I hope that when I pass, when I go, I hope that it will still be around. I don't care what they call it. I just wanted to keep going. I wanted to go and my man over here, he's a history maker. A lot of people, when they see this, they're gonna maybe not remember me, but they're gonna remember my face. My face hasn't changed. Yeah, my voice hasn't changed. Nah, they're gonna remember me. They're gonna sit down and they're gonna look. Well, I know that guy. I can't remember what crew he was down, but I know him because the things back in the day, the dancing back in the day was so great that faces cannot be forgotten. Him, Danny Boy, Cuz. Buzz was the DJ, Cheeky, Disco Stompers, MTC, DJ Amp. There were so many DJs. There was just so many basses, Linda Party, that I'm telling you, it's just like, it's hard because like I said, just to leave it off like this, you know, I was in a bubble, man, until this interview, you know. I look around, it hurt. You know, I would clap, but it's not for all that. I was in a bubble, and my man brings back history to me, you know, and it's unfair because, you know, a lot of people probably going to see this on YouTube, but my man, anytime we want to get together, they want to meet and they want to hear it and feel it the way physically and see it so they can see, you know, how wild up we get. He gets wild up. I get wild up about this thing. Let me tell you something. If I could turn the clock back, I would still dance. I wish I was at my best. I enjoyed it. I love beating people, challenging them. I mean, not beating them in a way. I mean, the competition, being challenged, losing to the most best dancers and winning to the best dancers. After you lost the competition, you hung out with your competition who you beat. And guess what? That one guy that you beat, you and him will probably end up, back in nowadays, you end up being one of the best dancers, you and him. Because two of the best dancers challenged, but one of them got to win. But imagine putting two of the best, or three of the best together. That's the real deal. That's the real deal. All right, so I'm going to let you go. Like I said, everybody knows me as Johnny Boy. You know, my brother's Angel OJ. We're all from the same old Bushwick. Want to give a shout out to Central Manningham, the Linden Park, Knickerbocker, where it all started, Decatur, 111. There's so many I can't say anymore. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.